Hey everybody, on this episode of iTalk Movies, we're getting up close and personal with actor Marko Zaror. Let's do it.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's iTalk Movies.
A little bit of the music from Braveheart welcoming us into this episode of iTalk Movies. This is the show, of course, where we get up close and personal with the people both in front and behind the camera to bring you all the great entertainment, whether you're seeing it on the movie theaters, at home on your TV, maybe on one of your mobile streaming devices. I'm your host, Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie. Now, my guest today originally is from Chile, and he's a martial artist, an actor, and a stuntman, and I'm going to guess he probably knows about 20 ways to kill me right now. He could just destroy me in a moment's notice. But you've seen his work in Machete Kills. He's also going to be in the new Netflix series The Defenders from Marvel coming up later this year as well. But his latest film is Savage Dog. It's going to be in theaters on August 4th, on video on demand and iTunes on August 8th. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Marko Zaror. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation.
No, the pleasure is all mine. So, you were originally from Chile. What led you into getting into martial arts? Was that something that your family had done as well too, or were you kind of the outlier?
Yeah, actually my mom was one of the first black belt in karate in Chile. For a time in Chile, it was prohibited to practice martial arts because of the military regimen and all the Pinochet dictate. It was kind of like a very hard to find schools, and there was not allowed basically. And well, she trained in Peru first. She's a Peruvian, trained and was in a temple, Buddhist temple, meditating and all that, doing kung fu. And then when she moved to Chile, she started doing karate. And then, she was the one that support my idea of doing martial arts. But then I saw Enter the Dragon when I was like 8 or 6. And it's just, my life changed forever. It was crazy.
Certainly there's been much written about and seen about, like Bruce Lee, and just like his kind of Shaolin was his kind of approach, wasn't it? Or not Shaolin, but
Wing Chun.
Wing Chun, yeah, that's right. So
he started with that, but then he started, experimenting with his own training and basically mixing it up and discovering. Yeah.
Is that an easy thing to do, to kind of start mixing up martial art forms and kind of exploring, kind of creating something unique in and of yourself?
Back then, yes, because there was a lot of, problems between schools and, my style is better than yours, and this is the secret, and I have a secret that you don't have, and blah, blah, blah. And there was a lot of fights between different styles and schools, and you have to stick to the norm and the rules of the whatever school you were in. And he didn't follow that, and he just challenged all that system, and he said, no, I need to learn with the best that I can from different styles, and the best that work for me. And now, basically is what you're seeing in UFC. You've seen athletes that are training as a high performance athlete that are using different techniques from different martial arts that work better for them. In the cage. So that's kind of what's kind of like Bruce Lee was the first that kind of understand what it was about. You see, and now you've seen it in front of millions of people. Yeah.
For you, as you're growing up and you're kind of learning about these different art forms, was there a style that you really gravitated towards immediately, or is there a style you're like, no matter how much, even today, that no matter how many times you do it, you're like, man, this is just, I don't enjoy it as much?
Yeah, well, of course, because of my fanatism, maybe that's a proper word to say.
Fanaticism?
I admire so much Bruce Lee, and as a kid, and I wanted to be exactly like Bruce Lee, right? So I actually like to wear the black pants and the white socks with the Chinese little flip flops, or like little tennis. I don't know how to call it, the tennis shoes or whatever. So I wanted to start kung fu, right? Like Chinese technique, because in all his movies it's like, kung fu is better than karate at the beginning, right? So yeah, I grew up with all that. I grew up finding and learning different styles of kung fu, not wushu, not the traditional one, more like the Wing Chun and the combat form. And then when I grew up, I started understanding that it's not about the style; it's more about the master and all that. And I went kind of through his same process without having the information, basically, because back then there was no YouTube, there was no internet. Actually, it was just you go to the movies and rent in the local store the video club. I remember, never gonna forget. And you rent your movie very old in VHS, and you watch, and suddenly it's like with all these little stripes, and that's how you kind of learn. You see, watching different movies and all that. So, as an instinct too, I kind of started to try different styles and try different things and start training as an athlete with weight training and all that. And, I end up doing different styles: karate, kung fu, taekwondo, a little bit of acrobatics, boxing, even lately wrestling, a little bit of submission.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I gotta be honest with you. Even though I think jiu-jitsu is an incredible martial arts, very, very effective, I don't like to wear that jacket and get strangled with the belt and all that. It doesn't get me yet.
Yeah.
I cannot say never, because this is all the time an evolution and a constant search, right? But not yet. I like submission though, when it's more like without the jacket and with all that. So I've been training all my life martial arts and trying different styles. And
what's nice about that art form is that it's like many things, like acting or like say improvisation. It is an art form that you can never stop learning. There's always something new to explore and discover, both for yourself and just through the art form as well.
Yeah, of course.
So how on this journey, what do you think? How does this change you from when you first started to now? How do you think you were different?
Well, I've been, I think that's the beauty of life in any aspects. Like when you understand that you're in constant evolution, that you can always learn something from someone. You cannot just find the ultimate master that is going to teach you. No, you can learn from even a kid, or you can learn from someone that don't have your same experience in something, but maybe he just seen something that it can work or you can use. And when you have the mind open like that, and you understand that, I like to call myself a student of life, you see, and learn every day. I don't like the word master, and it's just, I want to keep. I think I'm not going to have enough life to learn what is there to learn. You see, so that's kind of my philosophy, actually.
Which is kind of a nice thing, because you don't want to become complacent or feel like, yeah, I've already got it. I don't need to practice anymore. I don't need to study anymore. I'm set.
Yeah. But actually, right now for me, practice is more as an enjoyable. It's a way that I connect with myself in a present way. I think it's a movement. It's a meditation with movement. It's when I'm training, my brain is totally connected, and I'm not worried about anything, and I'm just there training, having a great time. And right now I train not to accomplish anything. For me, it's just I train because I love to train.
I'd imagine, given how busy you are, both whether it's acting, if you're doing stunt work or whatever, to be able to have those moments of training kind of just grounds you and gets you back into connecting with yourself.
Yes, definitely.
So, as you're growing up, and your mother did she teach you as well, or did she take you to schools and say they will teach you? I'm not going to worry about teaching.
Yeah, she'll teach me a little bit, but of course was more about taking me to the schools and all that. Yeah.
So, of course, like Bruce Lee, he starts learning this art form, but then he sees how it can translate to different mediums, whether it be television or film.
Yeah.
When did this start popping into your head that this might be a possibility, that if I kind of explore this through martial arts, it may lead me to do, like Bruce Lee, television or film work?
Yes. Well, actually, it was a coincidence, or was I don't know how to say it, but it was not meant. I didn't plan to. I always had the dream, but back in Chile in those years, there was maybe one movie produced every 2 years, so it was not even a dream. It was thinking when you're like a teenager that you're gonna go out of your country to the U.S. in Chile, that were really down there. I don't know, so thinking that you're gonna just go to U.S. and be in a movie, it's not even, that dream is. I can tell you, I want to dream to win the lottery and 3 times, and that's gonna not be so ridiculous that if I tell when I was 15 years old, hey, I want to be in movies in Hollywood or something, it's like everybody will laugh at you. So it's not even possible to dream, right? So what happened was I knew that my life was connected with martial arts. I knew that was my passion, and I was fortunate for that. I was very lucky to find what makes me passionate in life, like something so clear that I think I feel gifted for that, to find that, to be so clear on that. So I knew that I had to train, and I didn't know if I was going to be teaching. I didn't know if I was going to be doing tournaments or competing. I just knew that my life was going to be connected with martial arts somehow, right? So I traveled to Mexico City because I met a girl. I felt in love with a woman, and I just went crazy young love, that you just do whatever, and I fight with my father, and I left I was about to start university and to study and all that, but I knew that was not my life. I knew that the traditional way that you live in Chile is like, okay, you go to school, you study. I really not agree on what the education system, so they fool you with information all, and then you finish school and you don't know who you are and what you want in life, right? They don't help you at all to kind of understand, you see. Then you kind of guess, I have to study this because I'm going to be successful, I'm going to make money, right? You have 5 options: engineer, architecture, medicine, or like 5 traditional. I'm talking about the structure in Chile. This is I'm talking. And then if you don't choose one of those, you're going to be a loser in life, right? So you have to choose one of those to have the support of the community, of your family, of everything. So
what did your family want you to do?
To study business or something, right? So I actually did, but I went to select my university, the one that has the best gym, like everything.
Right.
Of course. So I didn't even care. I was like, I want the easiest one. I was the one that I didn't care. I just knew that my whole time is going to be spent at the gym training. And that's what I did the first year, until a woman, kind of made me go crazy and leave Chile and just go to Mexico, right? I arrived to Mexico, that thing didn't work out. 20 days, crazy thing. But then I stayed there. And in Mexico, I met Jose Luis Mosca, that is a Chilean martial arts instructor from kickboxing, won some tournaments and all that, like international, all that, and he has a big school in Mexico. And he had some movies, low-budget movies, done in Mexico, in Spanish, So I walked to his gym, and suddenly I see this poster of him with a kick in a movie, and that was like, what? This is real. Like it was a very close thing. It's like I'm seeing him and he's in a movie. So if he can do it, I can do it. And then never went back. You see, I stayed in Mexico. I studied acting in Televisa. I got a scholarship in Televisa. I'm really thankful for that, even though I knew that I didn't want to do soap operas. But I used the opportunity. I gotta be honest. And then as soon as
soap operas are a great training ground, though. In
Yeah,
terms
no,
of like just the amount of dialogue that you've got to memorize and deliver every day.
That's what I'm saying. It was a crazy training, but I don't know that they're bad or anything. I was so clear that if I already left my country and I want to do martial arts, then I'm going to be stuck in a soap opera channel doing soap operas that they told me, Marko, we think you have a great future here, but you're not going to do a lot of action and your kicking and your stuff, right? So you got to decide. You see, they offer me like I don't know how to say, when they sponsor you so you stay there.
Okay.
And I had to change my accent because I was still too Chilean. And then I'm like, okay, I have to think about it. And I think I didn't took too long to make the decisions. I have to go to the US. So then I left that, and then I just arrived to the US. I started everything from zero. And I arrived here,
That is impressive, because many people, given that opportunity to have some sort of kind of success in acting, may just stay there even if it's not necessarily what they want to do.
Yeah,
I think it's harder for people to kind of make that leap of faith, believe in themselves, and make that leap and say, you know what, this is not really what I want to do. It's a great opportunity, but it's not what's going to feed me, and just keep going?
Yeah, the thing is that, for me, it was like already, I think is the red apple, right, of the story. I believe that in life, you have to be constantly connecting with your inner self and understanding who you are and what you want in life and what's your real essence. And maybe sometimes you think you know, but then life puts you tests and try to test you and see if you really did the homework to understand that, you see. And for me, when I got that thing, trust me, it was like everybody was like, oh my God, I cannot believe what they offer you. And I'm like, yes, but you know what? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because I don't see myself as a drama soap opera actor. If I'm already here, my love is about action and martial arts. You see, at that point, you see, so I had to make the decision, and then I understand that was the right decision. You see, but at the beginning when I arrived to LA and everything, and the struggle and all that was like, damn, what happened if I would have just stayed in Mexico and I'd be making money?
Right.
But I didn't care. I was like, after a while things start happening, and then I was like, wow, just life put you on the test sometimes, you see.
What is it like when you're telling your parents? I'm sure they're already mad when you left university and you go to Mexico. They're like, what have you done? And then you leave. You reach success in Mexico, and they say, "You know what? I'm leaving this planet. I'm heading to the States." Are they going crazy? Like, you did it. You're doing it again. Why are you leaving? Just stay.
Yeah, I know. But at that point, they already gave up because I already left to Mexico, and so that was crazy. My father went there to pick me up a couple times, and I'm like, "Oh, Marco, you know why? You have to go back to Chile. You have everything there. You have to study." And he saw me so convinced, and I was happy, and I don't know, I guess he just gave up on that, and then went to the US. And when I started doing my little first stuff, it was like exciting, and they just kind of gave up with me.
So when you came here to LA, did you have any support system in place, or were you just pretty much, you got here to LA and you didn't know anybody?
No, I basically didn't know anybody. Yeah, I met one person in Mexico that was a manager from someone in the US. So that's kind of what was my only connection there. But then I start, the first thing that I arrived to the US was I gotta find where to train. So I find a gym in Sunset Boulevard, never gonna forget, Ken's Karate Studio.
Oh, nice.
He very, very cool. He was very nice with me. He let me, because of the money situation, right? So I said, okay, what about if I clean the gym, and then I can train, and that was a great deal. He let me do that, and I was able to arrive there like 6 a.m, clean the gym, everything nice, and then had all the gym for me in Hollywood. It was crazy. It was in my mind. Then when I was walking to my house, I see the Hollywood sign. It was a very magical moment in my life, and understanding that at the end, you have to do it. You have to do it. This is only one life we live. I believe we live many lives, but in this way and in this shape, it's just one time. So you have to just do it.
So you're acting, but what leads you first into doing stunt work? Is that something that you pursued, or did somebody see you, whether at some event or some tournament? Or
yes, that was exactly for me. Was when I arrived here and I start training. Of course, in the gyms, there's always someone. You're in the middle of the industry, so someone is that you train next to you is a stuntman, or like is involved with somehow in the industry. So they saw me as like, oh, Marco, you should, maybe try stunts and all that. You have a good size and you have really good technique. So I did a movie as a stuntman, as a double for Roger Corman. Hard as Nails was the movie.
Nice.
And I was like, wow, this is crazy. So then they saw me performing some stuff, and the producer's like, oh, you know what? You're gonna be in the screen instead of being a stuntman, a double, right? You're gonna have a little role there. You're gonna be like the right hand side of the main bad guy, and so in all the scenes where he appears, I'm standing there, and I was so happy for that, and had some like acting moments and all that. It was fun. And after that, I was training at LA Valley College, and where a lot of stunt people train back there, and they still do until now. And Andy Cheng walked to to the room, and that was a big life changing moment for me, because he saw me and he was seeing me for many times training. I didn't know who he was, nothing, just the guy that show up, always look, and everybody was like, oh, you can feel that there's someone, but I didn't know. And after a while, he came to me. He's like, Marko, would like to do some stunt work. I'm like, yes, of course. At the time, I was teaching martial arts at LA Valley Fitness or something.
Okay.
Yes, Valley Fitness. It doesn't exist anymore, that gym or something. But I was teaching martial arts. I was, doing everything I could to kind of, stay here. And he's like, yeah, okay, good. So come to the meeting and everything and whatever. And I was like, okay, I didn't know what it was and
What's
anything.
this meeting? Okay, I'll go to a meeting.
Oh, yeah. And then it was, basically it was for doubling The Rock on the movie The Rundown.
Directed by Peter Berg.
Yeah,
That's
Peter
fantastic.
Berg. Yeah, so he has his stuntman, like Tanawai Reed. He's always with him and all that. But in this particular movie, because Andy was directing, they called me because of the martial arts, right? So that was like kind of something very big for me. And I've learned a lot of the industry, and I tried to learn as much as I could from Andy's, the way he directed and he coordinated and he do the previs and all the rehearsals, and I was trying to be a sponge and to try to absorb as much as I could. And after that movie, that it was huge for me, I went back to Chile and started my own movies in Chile.
So
Yeah.
to stop on the rundown for a second, when you're doubling somebody like The Rock, who comes from a wrestling background, football, very active, when it comes time to shoot a scene, is there much negotiation where Dwayne Johnson would say, you know what, Marko, I'd like to do this scene? Or is it pretty much like, it's pretty much clear that he knows, like, yep, there's some things that, Marko, you're going to come in and do, and there's some things like, yep, I'm fine with doing.
Well, no, he's incredible athlete, he's a very nice guy. And in this case, of course, it's more like a safety and liability thing. Sometimes, well, if you see that movie, there was a lot of tumbling down a hill. There was not a lot of kicking. I thought that, I'm going to be doing some spin kicks and stuff like that. No, it was more about the agility that I had it in the air to kind of tumble and spin and be safe, right? Because I remember if you see that movie where there's a jeep that falls down the cliff and we tumble a big hill, and that was me and Tanawai tumbling hills and taking turns and tumbling for a week. So that's a very, of course they're not gonna expose The Rock on do stuff like that, because it's he just do parts of the tumble, the ones that are more safe and more contained. But of course he can injure, and then the movie has to stop and all that. So it's basically this type of stuff. It's more liability and stuff like that. Yeah.
How do you feel though after spending several days just tumbling, rolling down these large?
It was challenging, man. Trust me, it was very challenging. It's every day you wanted to quit, and it was like crazy, and didn't have the experience for that. I've trained martial arts all my life. I didn't train how to tumble down a hill, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm watching that, I'm looking down, I'm like, and Andy Cheng is like, Marko, jump, and I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Like, it was crazy, So, but then you jump, and then you realize nothing happens. It's everything contained, everything's safe, but you don't know. You tell me do a 720 or do a kick, okay, I know what it is, right? But I didn't know that, okay, if you jump to that cliff, basically the gravity is gonna pull you into the thing, into the hill, and you're not just gonna go down to the million kilometers that you see of deep, right? No, it's just gonna go right to the thing. But that things you don't know, so it's a very mental challenging thing. But it was a very nice experience, and and stunt people, I really admire the stunt community. They're very professional, and the way they train and all these abilities, and not just I do martial arts, right? A stuntman needs to know a little bit of everything. They gotta train car driving, fire guns, doing this type of crazy falls, high falls. It's like there's many specialties in stunt, so it's an incredible career to have. But for me, after that movie, I knew that was not what I wanted to do. Also, the same as I said, I said to the soap opera, I was like, no, because I like to do martial arts. So I realized that in the stunt business, it's just martial art is like a 1 or 2% of stunts, right? So if you want to dedicate and be a good stuntman, you have to kind of train yourself to do everything. So for me, it was like, no, I want to go grab this money and do my own independent films in Chile and tell stories, and I went more that direction, you see.
And what was it like to go back to Chile and start making your own films? Where was it pretty much like was everybody like, oh my gosh, Marko's actually coming back, he's actually gonna do stuff? I'm sure your parents must have been thrilled to have you back there doing work.
Yeah, of course. But the thing is, I have a friend in Chile since high school that he was like, I was the freak of martial arts. He was the freak with the camera and directing. When we were kids, like since we were very young, very good friends. And he always looking at movies, actually Robert movies, Quentin movies, and and actually the book of Robert Crew.
Rebel
Without Crew, yeah. He was all the time doing his little movies with the camera, And for example, we have a English class, right, in the school, and the teacher one day said, "Okay, you guys have to do or a book or a movie in English." So just as and we're like, okay, we'll do a martial art movie. So when we were kids, we were all the time, I shoot you, I'm the director, you do the kicks, and so we were all the time doing this type of stuff. So then when I arrived back to Chile, he's like, man, let's do this, right? So we develop a story and all that, and then we start, like, I try to apply everything that I learned from Andy Cheng and from being on the set of the Randall for so long, and try to apply the same thing. And we did the first Latin American martial arts movie named Kiltro, and that movie kind of make it to festivals here in the US, and that's how kind of my career started. And then we did Mirage Man, that movie got a lot of recognition in the Fantastic Fest of Austin, Texas. And actually Texas was a big part of where my whole career started. Yeah. So
for you, what is the secret to directing and being in a great fight scene? In the sense, do you want, because there are some, like if you look at Paul Greengrass, and you look at some of the Bourne films that he did with Matt Damon, a lot of quick cutting, a lot of shaky cam, which is fine, but I like the more, and I don't know how you feel about it, if you're doing a fight scene, like a Jackie Chan film or something like that, where you're going to see a lot of wide takes, where you're going to see a lot of action with this in the scene. When you're approaching a fight scene, how do you like to do it?
Yeah, of course, that's depend on the time of movie making, and I think evolution of movie making, one, and two have to do with the skills of the people that are fighting. You see, when I think when the movie is about the action, about the fighting, of course you want to be able to cut and show what's going on, right? But sometimes some directors have they prefer to go more for the feeling of a fight, and what really the fight projects you in the camera, instead of that's a right punch or a left punch technique, that is a dragon technique or whatever technique. No, like at the end, he's more looking for what's that punch how it's gonna impact the audience, instead of, oh, that was a,
right,
this technique or this other technique. So I believe like going to both extreme is not good. You see, if you go too much to the extreme of it's all about confusion and quick cutting and shaky camera, and at the end you're like, you don't even know what's going on. That's sometimes they overdo that. And also when it's too clean and too, you just watching a dance, you kind of jump away of that they're fighting, and there's adrenaline and there's something going on. You see, you're just watching it more as a choreography. You fall into the choreography. So that's kind of what happened, and that's, at least right now for me, after all the movies that I've done and I try different things, I prefer more to mix it a little bit, you see, and add a little bit of moments of reality in the middle of the choreography. And that's kind of what, we did a little bit in Savage Dog. I did it in Redeemer, my last movie. In the last couple movies that I've done, I've been trying to play a little bit with that, and it worked. And I'm really happy with it. See.
So now you come. You mentioned Texas, Austin, Texas, and of course, saying your friend reading Rebel Without a Crew. All of a sudden, you find yourself in Machete 3. Machete Kills. Excuse me, Machete Kills. With you got Danny Trejo, directed by Robert Rodriguez. And you're acting with Mel Gibson.
that was like, I'm telling you, like, that was crazy. Like, I received a phone call, and I had this Skype talk with Robert, and I was like, it was like, I'm telling you, in that point, I was already past any dream that I could have had when I was a kid. So, it's like, come on. It's like, I felt so thankful. That was a very special moment because, like I said, being all my career at that point, having him as a reference in movie making, making it yourself. Just don't wait for the millions. Just grab a camera, just tell a story, put it out there, and we did it, and it did good. Mirage Man and Kiltro won Fantastic Fest Best Movie, like, Audience Award. We travel around the world with movies that are really low budget, like movies that, it's like incredible. So that mentality of wearing many hats, you see, is like you're fighting, you're also directing, you're helping, bringing the coffee to the people that are tired. So you gotta be proactive and understand that this is a team effort, that you gotta, in order to accomplish this, if you don't have the money to have a big team, you have to, like, really give it a 200%.
True, you got to have a crew that's going to know that they have to realize we're going to be doing a lot of stuff to make this happen.
Yes, and if you're not willing to, if you don't feel the passion for the project, then it's going to be a one more paycheck, and then it's not going to work because you're going to do your minimum effort. You see, so for me, it's all about the passion. So that's at least how we were able to develop these movies in Chile. It's all for just passion. It was impossible to do it another way. So when I got his call, it was a confirmation of all this philosophy. You see, it was like from up there, someone is like, okay, this is the way that I'm going to show you that you've been taking the right decisions. So it was like crazy. And then, of course, when I arrived and having this role in Machete Kills was just, what I could say, it was incredible, And then met him, and then worked many more times with him, and it's pretty cool.
Now, how do you play when you get to meet somebody that had such an impact on your life? Say whether it be Robert Rodriguez and his kind of philosophy to approaching film, or say like Mel Gibson. You love Braveheart, you love the music in there, and all of a sudden, I mean, that was his film. Do you kind of share your share how much with them, like that their work had an impact on you, or do you just kind of play it cool and it's like, nah, we're just going to be buddies?
It depends of the person, It depends of what also the person is willing to give. You see, my relationship with Robert has been pretty cool. We kind of share a passion of movies, and we've been already working together in many other stuff. So, but some people, even you feel that you admire, like, for example, the Mel Gibson, like you said, like Braveheart for me is incredible. Like, yeah, but you didn't have the chance to talk too much with him because we're in the set is very professional, mm-hmm. So you have very little time to kind of sit and just say what's up. No, it's so organized, the set, you see, that you have your trailer, then okay, someone come and pick you up from your trailer. Oh, they're ready for you in 5 minutes. So they grab you, go to makeup, then makeup 5 minutes, you go to your chair on the set, and then you just wait there. Then you go to the set, you do your scene, back to your chair, back to your trailer, and that's how sometimes you're performing with actors that you don't even see and they're actually in the same scene.
Wow,
it's very incredible. It's so organized at that level of production. It's not me running around with the camera and my friend in Chile trying to make a movie. It's so organized and it's so precise that every second counts. That sometimes you just I work with many people that are like but I didn't even have a chance to even share one or two lines, you see. So it's very interesting how it works.
Are you every night after you're wrapping on set, are you calling your friend back down in Chile and saying, I learned this just by watching how the way Robert kind of works on set? Were you kind of sharing some of the stuff that you learned with your friend back down in Chile?
No, of course, and it's been a process because after we did Kiltro, Mirage Man, Mandrill, then Machete Kills happened. Well, actually, Mandrill was the movie that Robert saw, and that's how he got. Like Mandrill won best movie, and I won best actor in Fantastic Fest with that movie. So that's how Robert got a hold of me. So then after we did the movie, went back to Chile and we did Redeemer. So we were able to. I was always able to incorporate a little bit of things, and But my friend is a big fan of Robert too, and he's always doing research and all that. So it's always it's a constantly feedback,
And you stay in the Robert Rodriguez family because you did From Dusk Till Dawn, the TV series as well. You're saying rocking the sweet El Rey Network T-shirt there.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, it was an incredible role, man. I was so happy with that character. Solo, man. Actually, Solo, it's like so cool, the mohawk and the kind of like a Mad Max look, like the Roar Warrior. It's like so cool, and the fight, and because he's a jaguar warrior. Then as a martial artist, I can play a lot with it. I could, do techniques that they don't even exist. I could just do whatever, you see. So it's beautiful to be able to explore a character like that. And he's a character that has a heart and he's a bad guy. But I don't know if you see the series, but at the end of the season, he kind of you can see that there's a big feeling about him, and it's a big code of honor that he has. So it's a very cool character, man.
Looks what I like about bad guys is a bad guy's not a bad guy 24 hours a day. There's always something that they care about, whether they show it a lot or not. But there is something within that. There's always something that they do care about.
Yeah.
So now you spent a cool character there, but you also mentioned, to hop back to Machete Kills for a second, you didn't have to worry about having a cool character name for that because Robert just loved your last name so much. He's like, you know what? I can't give him a better character name.
Yeah, that was a surprise too. It's like so funny watching the movie and suddenly like one of the actors like Zaror like, in the middle of the movie, and it's like it's crazy. It's crazy. Like I go back to my 15-year-old kid knucklehead in high school, with my friends. It's like you tell this story and it's crazy. It's like, so just have to just do it.
So now your latest film, Savage Dog, coming out now, as I mentioned, it's going to be out in theaters on August 4th, video on demand, and iTunes on August 8th. So, and you play, I always say, pronounce you Rastignac? Rastignac, yeah. So, or he calls himself the Executioner, because it's like, yes, other than this knife, we were equally matched, which and he pulls out.
Like a sword, right?
Yeah, exactly. You think, just like a little pocket knife, and then he just, geez Louise.
Yeah. That was a fun one, man. That was I was so happy to be able to work finally with Jesse. I met Jesse when I just got to LA. I went to visit him to the set of Pit Fighter, and I was very young and with a lot of energy, and I was very excited to be there in the set and all that, and then we just stay in touch. I went back to Chile, all the story that I told you, and suddenly when I arrived back to the US, let's go grab a coffee, and he's like, Marko, I have a role for you in my new movie. And I'm like, oh really? Yeah, check the script. So I read the script, and I love it. And then he told me that Scott Adkins was playing the main character, and I worked with him in Undisputed, and I had an incredible experience with him and with Isaac Florentine. So I was like, of course. So and very, very excited about the character and the opportunity, because it was totally different of what I've done before. It was an assassin, but he has a code of honor, and he sees fighting as a ritual and as something that it's honorable. You see, it's like he even though he's an assassin, he's crazy, but in his mind he's just not. He's a fan of bullfighting, and that's why he the way he cleaned the knife and the way he stands up, like. So I'm really happy that Jesse let me to play with that, and he was totally cool with it, and he liked the ideas that we talk, and so yeah, man, it came out pretty cool. I'm really excited.
It was interesting with that character too, that he has this code of honor, but yet when he's going into the fight, he will bring that knife with him. I feel like you're already giving yourself such a huge advantage going into this fight. So it's like it's a code of honor, but it's also just warped to always kind of give him some sort of edge. It seems
and because it's his reality, and he created his reality for him, and the prayer that he says before is his own connection to what for him makes sense. maybe for you it's not gonna make sense.
Yeah, that's true.
but for him it's like, this is what he believes, and he loved bullfighting, and that was his dream. So this is kind of the way that he had to be a bullfighter, but instead of with bulls, it was basically with humans, you see.
Now, doing those scenes where you're using the knife and you're fighting the person that loses against Scott at the beginning of the film in the mud pit as they're fighting, you hop in there with the knife and you give him a few slices. What's it like when you're actually doing a fight scene with a knife? How much of it is actually a real knife, and how much of it is like a fake knife that they're using?
Well, yeah, it's a mix, of course, for safety. There's many replicas of the knives, and they use like more not sharp knives and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a mix.
When you stab right here into the upper chest of the gentleman that you're fighting, is that just a retractable knife that's kind of collapsing as you're going in?
Yeah, they use combinations like that. It's a retractable knife. It's knives with a green edge.
Oh, gotcha.
So they can play around with the BFX and all that. Yeah, that's how it works. It looks pretty cool.
It does look cool. And what I love is when I see, like, I feel like you're seeing like a stuntman who is kind of behind a film, where it's like any of the fight scenes, we are just going to get down and dirty. We're going to see a lot of blood. It's going to be crazy. There's just moments there where you're like, I was blown away by some unexpected moments of bloodshed that you would see in the film. And
yeah,
I was like, very cool.
What I like about this film was a totally different film of what I did in Undisputed, and because doing again a movie where I'm the main bad guy and Scott is the main, like, it sounds like, oh, I've seen this before, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it is totally not. It's like people will get a big surprise. It's more like an action film, right? Rather than just a martial art film. Has a different type of story. So and the fight that we went it's more down to earth. It's more realistic. It's more violent. It's maybe not a lot of acrobatic and tricks. People seen that already, right? So this one was more connected with the characters. My character was a assassin from the Blue Legion. Back then, the savate was kind of what they used. So I explored on that. And I was like, yeah, my character needs to do savate. So I explore some techniques of savate. Some people will be able to see them. And I was able to kind of understand how this guy fight back then, if he was a really good fighter. So that's totally, it gives a feeling that is a totally different for an Undisputed movie. So
How much time do you get to, say, in Savage Dog? I guess it varies depending on the budget and the time that you have for a film, but say for Savage Dog, how much time do you actually get to prep, like your fight scene with Scott? Do you get a lot of time to kind of work it all out and work out all your the motions that you're going to be doing?
Yeah, well, we get together. It's all about us in that point. We get together, we try different techniques. There's a stunt coordinator that has some ideas, but basically my fights, I like to come up, and of course the stunt coordinator is very open to say, hey, can you do this, or what about this technique? And then it's all about like an input in between all of us to co-create the best fight that we can do. And Scott Atkins is a great martial artist. Then I come up with my stuff, and the star coordinator have another vision. So we try to share and try to do the best. Come up with the best possible.
Do you go in knowing how long you have for that fight scene, or do you just kind of make one and then you kind of show Jesse, and then you kind of whittle it down to what you need?
Yeah, basically we do like a previs that is usually long all the time, and then sometimes we could do the whole thing. Sometimes we're gonna have to cut and save here, and we only have 2 days, or we're late in schedule, so we're gonna have to, instead of have 3 days for shoot or 4 days, we only have 1 day. So then you have to go in that previous and think, okay, what's the best, what we can take out, what. It's a process. I think it's in every movie that happens. Even in big movies and little movies, any type of movies,
For you to put, even as a director, for you to execute a good fight scene, how much time do you think you need? Can you get it done in 1 day, or it's like, we will if we have to, but it's great to have at least 2 to 3 days?
I'll use the example of Redeemer. Redeemer is a movie the latest movie that I did in Chile, where I direct the fights and I coordinate, and I did all I actually even do the editing for the fight scenes and all that. So, for example, in a fight that it lasts around 3 minutes, one-on-one, you could take a whole day of shooting if you really shoot really fast. If you have a small crew, a slow little movie where not of dealing with, you just location, couple shiny boards, shooting with a camera, good, it could be the best camera, whatever, but you're not dealing with moving a million things around and stuff like that. Yeah, in one day you can have a fight that is a 3 minute, 4 minute long if you have two martial artists. You see, that's at least what we've done in Manual. That I'm talking about that fight against the jiu-jitsu MMA guy. People can watch that. It's in Netflix, Redeemer. You can watch that movie, and then you'll see the fight that I'm talking about. That movie, that fight was a 1 day full shoot, right? But for example, another example in another level of production from Dusk Till Dawn, the fight that I have with Richie at the desert. Robert also, Robert in 1 day did this fight. The difference is that we're dealing with bikes, we're dealing with a car, wardrobe, swords, and that was pretty amazing too, to do that fast. Good fight like that and a long fight like that. So it's all depend on the techniques you use, the rhythm. It's like the production, the set. If you're shooting inside or you're shooting outdoor, it's all gonna depend. You see.
I imagine when it comes really down to the crew, how fast and efficient they are in breaking down and putting up blocking out a new scene they're gonna shoot.
Yeah, if it's complicated, if you're breaking down a lot of stuff, it's a lot of makeup. So usually when we do our movies in Chile, because we know that. We try to simplify the fight so we can have more fight and focus on making long, nice fights than just go too complicated and then we just have fights that are very short. You see, so it's a process. It's a
now it's not just fighting that you do in this film as well, and having a really cool knife, but there's a sequence in there where you get hold of a huge machine gun.
Oh yes.
And you're firing that baby around, and I just love the various angles where you get to see like the shells falling out of the gun as you're going crazy with it. What's it like holding a gun that huge and getting to fire it?
Yeah, actually that was my first time that I get to shoot and to have this type of weapons. Like, it was crazy. All the like guns from like old, like really like from that time, and like these crazy machine guns, and yeah, it's the adrenaline goes up, man. It gets there, man. It's like you feel the power of the weapon. You're dealing with something that is real. It's no game, no playing.
How much training do you have to do before you get to work with a huge machine like that?
Yeah, we gotta, of course, gotta try a couple times. The whole thing about when you fire and you naturally blink if you're not really a shooter, so you have to kind of practice so you kind of look tough and you're not like, shooting like, So you have to kind of get that training, and Jesse's a real pro on that, and he was able to teach me all the logistics. So it's pretty cool.
It is cool. Just as I said, just you kind of walking and shooting it and trying to shoot at Scott, and just watching the bullet cases just fall on the ground. Always a cool shot to see.
Yeah.
Oh, just sure. Like doing something like that where you got to look and practice your tough face kind of takes you back to when you're watching Bruce Lee films. I imagine, did you do something when like Enter the Dragon? Where did you ever dress? Just kind of give yourself like the blood, the claw marks on your chest to kind of get that Bruce Lee moment.
If I've done that
when you were 15, kind of looking back at Bruce Lee and stuff.
Well, no, I didn't do that, but I did crazier stuff, to try to look like Bruce Lee when I was a kid. Yeah, of course. Yeah, many crazy things.
So I'm just curious for you, in terms of a martial artist right now, like, and I'm thinking, I guess, somebody that's actually working in film. Who's somebody that when they're doing something that you're like, I got to make sure I watch this film because I'm going to see something really enjoyable?
In martial arts, in film?
Yes. Like, is it like a Donnie Yen?
Actually, that's the one that I was going to say. The one that I really like the way he approached fighting and all that is Donnie Yen. Especially like Flashpoint and movies like this.
Right, it's like,
where it's realistic, where it's not so the traditional ones, like the traditional movies of like really traditional styles. I like more when he's adding the street kind of feel and a little bit of MMA, and he do a really good job on that. I really like, and actually I would love to fight him one day in a movie.
That would be cool. That would be really cool. So Marko, if they want to keep up to date with everything you're doing, whether it be Savage Jog or whatever next on your plate, where's the best place to find you in the whole wide world of social media?
Well, I have a Facebook, Marko Zaror Official. That's my fan page. I have a YouTube channel that I talk a lot about nutrition. I'm really into nutrition. I love to, I cook my food, and I study that. That's like my side passion,
Nice.
So I have recipes there. So you'll see me not kicking. Maybe you'll see me cooking a brownie, or something.
Wait, you have like a healthy brownie that I could make and eat?
Yeah. There's a bread, I have a way of eating that it's a low carb, high fat diet. So it's like a ketogenic but plant based. So
Okay.
I don't do any. I've been already like a year on this, and I've been 3 years eating a high fat diet. But the last year it's been more a plant based diet, whereas the only animal product that I'm doing is eggs. Right, but I'm not meat, fish, or anything like that. So I basically use a lot of cultured nuts. I do nut cheese,
Okay.
almond cheese, macadamia cheese, and I use a lot of phytoplankton, spirulina, chlorella. So I used all of that to kind of do sauce and stuff like that, and it's pretty fun. I have a lot of fun doing that, and my nutrition for me. It's been the most important discovery in my last couple of years, in terms of performance.
Really? How's it changed since going to more of a plant-based approach as opposed to animal?
Yeah, well, for me, I could tell you the main change was not about that. It was about the going to a high fat diet.
Really?
Before I was into a high carb diet where it creates a lot of inflammation in my system. And me personally, I was start having a lot of problems with inflammation, in the joints, pain in the back, and you're like, I train a lot, so maybe this is part of the thing, right? And we'll tire all the time. I'm like, something is wrong, and I did this. I started doing a lot of research, and I went to more of a high fat diet, and that just went totally like it was 180 change. It was crazy,
Oh, wow.
right? And then I started doing more research, and now this last year I'm more into a plant base, and I had this little even more kind of wow, this is crazy what nutrition can do, and you feel it, so it's pretty cool.
I definitely going to go to, because if I can find a healthy way to make some brownies and not feel bad about myself, I am all about that. So everybody, please check out Marko's film Savage Dog. As mentioned, it's going to be in theaters August 4th, on video on demand, and iTunes on August 8th. Follow him there on social media. Follow him on YouTube. Get those cool, healthy cooking recipes there. I've been your host, Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie. We'll see you back here next time with another hot edition of iTalk Movies right here on Popcorn Talk. Take care.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.